So we have covered, let me revise it quickly what we have covered. So we are starting today's session with carbon market roadmacks. We said that carbon markets are powerful tool in our GHG mitigation toolkit. They put a price on carbon emission, creating financial incentive for companies to reduce carbon footprint. Think of it as a marketplace where currency is carbon dioxide or carbon dioxide equivalent or carbon credits in general we say. So we will be delving in this market to operate and their role of global emission reduction effort, how carbon market helps there. And what we started with, we started looking into carbon market core concept. And we said that it commodify the carbon. That's what happens through the carbon market. The central idea here is to treat the right to emit carbon dioxide or any other greenhouse gases as a commodity. So one carbon dioxide equivalent means that you have 1 tons of carbon dioxide equivalence emission right? If you have that credit or you have bought that credit or if you have that credit as allowance, right? Each credit allowance represents the right to emit 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. There are two types of main carbon market. The first one we talked about is compliance market, where the compliance market talks about cap and trade, right? These are mandatory system established by and regulated by government entities, specifically even international bodies like United Nations under Article 6.2 has a capacity to deal in this market, right? And in October they will get the full right where each country can go there and register their carbon credits. So that registry is opening in October and agreed in COP29. Now a regulatory body which sets the overall limit or cap on the total amount of emission allowed for a specific group of industry or entire economy can be known as European Union ETS system or anybody who is doing that regulatory work. Now this cap is designed to decrease over the time. That's one of the property which we should remember. It ensures that there is a progressive reduction in emission from the industry over a period of time, right? And that gives the answer to most of the naysayer in the market that carbon markets actually gives them license to pollute. Actually, it is opposite if you understand this particular theory. Second theory is the allowance comes because of the inherited nature of the cap. So people who take action get benefited by the cap, right? And here we saw one of the example like, Tata Motors or Tata Industry, which has reduced their carbon emission, right? Then we came to voluntary carbon market. Now, these markets are not mandatory by law, but it requires a verification by certain authority in the country, okay, or certain international bodies which has experience in voluntary carbon market registry approvals. So you need to get it audited in order to work into voluntary carbon market. Now these markets are not mandated by law and hence they allow company and organization as an individual to voluntarily purchase carbon credit to offset their emission. So here there is no cap and trade happening, but it works on the similar fundamental that somebody is selling in the market, showing that they have taken enough effort to reduce the carbon dioxide emission, or they say carbon offsets. Here, carbon offset is the keyword, and these credits are generated by projects, sequestration project we were discussing earlier, etc. Right, where they are reducing or removing GHG, including reforestation, renewable energy projects or improvement in energy efficiency. What is the goal here in carbon offset? That participants of voluntary carbon market buy these offset to meet their own sustainability goals such as achieving carbon neutral or net zero status. And the demand for these credits drives funding towards project that might not have been financially viable otherwise, like planting tree, etc. Right? Now, what are the key principle and mechanism here? The key principle has several principles are available, but let me tell you three of those or four of those which are critical and Vera or gold standard etc. considers them as a principle. If you follow those principles, then only you will be allowed to play in compliance and voluntary markets. The first one is additionality. First one is additionality. Second one is permanence. Third one is verification, and fourth one is avoiding double counting. These are the four principles which you have to follow in order to fair play in the carbon markets, and you will get a proper recognition. So what is the additionality? Now additionality is a word which is used in terms of any project you are using to reduce or mitigating the carbon dioxide emission must prove that its emission reduction would not have happened without financial incentive. So without this carbon market, this approach nobody would have taken. That you have to prove to the market. In other words, project must be additional to the business as usual practice. So in business as usual, if you are reducing the carbon dioxide, means you have an inherited way of doing business which is sustainable, then you won't be getting the credit here. You will be only getting the credit if your project shows that this is additional effort company is doing in order to go for business as usual practice. Yesterday was the holiday. People are confused. Today is the holiday. Yesterday was the holiday. It was a GRI session where everybody came in. Now, can somebody write that? Yesterday was the holiday. It was a GRI session where people came in for just introduction. And we discussed about what we are going to cover the GRI and ESG reporting. Okay. Now, permanence is the second most important principle here. And this principle is particularly important for projects that store carbon. So what is that? If you are in CCUS kind of thing or CCS kind of thing, CCS means carbon capturing and utilization and storage systems, like you can have a DSA system, direct air capturing. What is that? So you put big machines. What it does, it sucks the whole air in the atmosphere, filter out the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and then it converts that carbon dioxide into tiles or stores it. But the storage has to have a characteristics of permanence. It should not be that you stored it for 10 minutes and again it got released into atmosphere. Then that project won't be falling into voluntary carbon market and even compliance carbon market. Are you with me? So voluntary carbon market requires that your initiative is, or storing carbon initiatives such as forestry even, has a permanence nature into it. It ensures that carbon removed from the atmosphere will not be re-released in the future. Clear? And that's why sometimes people who are putting below the ground level, they need to assure more that how they are storing that it will not come back. Clear? So forest is not cut down or destroyed by fire within 2 years, 5 years. That kind of initiative. And this is another challenge right now in market, that you did a plantation, okay, and after 5 years down the line that plantation got fire. So now whatever I have sold for last 5 years, will that be relinquished, or do I need to pay them back because I could not control it for next 25, 30 years? That's a challenge in market right now. A lot of people are debating onto it, but permanence is that particular debate point which we need to consider whenever we are going to claim. So forest not being cut down or destroyed by fire is one of the basic principle there. The third principle is verification. Now, whatever emission reduction initiative you have taken must be accurately measured, which we did over the 14 days time. It should be monitored, that you have not just calculated once and left it for the Bhagwan Bharose, but you are checking it all the time and making sure that your mitigation efforts are going in right direction, and get it verified. You cannot go to voluntary carbon market without getting it verified. Nobody will consider your carbon
Excuse
credit.
me, sir.
Sorry?
Slides are not moving. Slides are not
No,
moving.
I'm
Is it
just discussing. This is means of course next slide we'll be talking about the same, but I'm just giving you
okay?
idea before we move on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not that I'm covering something unique here. It's just a four principles which are critical. And the last one is avoiding double counting, right? A single emission reduction can only be claimed and counted once. You cannot say that I am planted a tree today and this tree is, of course, tree has a functionality that every year it sucks out the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. So that could not be. But if you have done one time exercise like CCUS unit, which captures the air, carbon dioxide converts into tile. You did it 1 year and now you ask every year. It should not be the case. You cannot do that. Every year, if you are converting carbon dioxide from atmosphere into tiles, then only it will be allowed. Now, role of carbon credits and offset is what we have to see going forward. Let's check that how people work with cap and trade system. So now tomorrow you got an assignment that you want to develop carbon credit for a company. So how the system will help you to create that carbon credit. Best example is energy efficiency and emission allowances. Most of the company has started doing this for long time now. Yeah. So let's consider one real-time example from Europe, which illustrates that how a company can implement energy efficient processes and benefit from the cap and trade system. A Germany-based company, manufacturing company in auto ancillary, who produced automotive parts to large companies like Volkswagen and BMW. They they decided to invest in energy efficient technology in their company compared to their peer. They decided their machines will be more capable, it will take less energy and do the same job. Now, this upgradation of machinery to use less energy and implementing better insulation and facility, because you can understand. Okay, Abdullah Naji, you have question. Go ahead.
Fourth point you told,
Yeah,
principles and
avoiding the double
permanent.
counting. Avoiding the
Okay,
double
okay,
counting.
okay,
Right?
okay,
You
okay,
you should
okay.
claim
Thank you.
only once. Any carbon, reduction targets, if you do, you should only claim once. In a year, you can't claim twice, or in 2 year, last year data you cannot count in. Tell them it is only 1 hour. Deepa, Dr. Deepa, just tell them it is 1 hour. So we will be sending the recorded video. They can see it even in night if they want. We will send it immediately. Sandeep is here, so we'll immediately send it to everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay. Okay.
understand that
Yeah.
people are confused, they are lost, and not more than that, it is Rakhi, and I know everybody wants to take a holiday, but unfortunately, we do not have a regular classes. If I do not cover today, tomorrow you will see the effect will not come as much as it can, right? So that is why I have to do it today. Tomorrow 11 o'clock debate, otherwise will be lopsided. Yeah, because a lot of people will not get enough information. Now, so manufacturing company, they have done exercise where they have invested into energy efficient technology, such as upgrading its machinery, using less energy, and implementing better insulation at its facility. As a result of these improvement, company now has an advantage compared to its peer in Germany, right? What is that advantage? That they are below their cap. Now they are below their cap. So how cap and trade will work in this scenario? First of all, reduction of emission. Yeah. After implementing the energy efficient processes, company finds out that it has reduced the carbon emission by 1000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year compared to the last year, which can be say 10,000 tons, right? So from 10,000 ton, they have reduced by 1000 ton. So 10% improvement has happened. Now, under European Union Emission Trading System, or EU ETS, the company which has been allocated 10,000 tons of cap, how much of allowance this company has now?
1,000.
1,000, which he saved.
Yes.
That is the only allowance he has. Now, can he sell this excess allowance? Absolutely yes. Since the company has reduced its emission below its allocated allowances and have all these four principles covered. Check now. Check. What was the first number principle? अब्दुल अमजद आप बताइए पहला.
Permanence.
Additionality.
Permanence.
परमानेंस से पहले था एक. सीक्वेंस में जाइए.
Additionality.
Additionality. So
Sorry, additionality. Yes.
is it
Mhm.
okay? So is it his normal course of action? No, absolutely not. He took some action. He put a lot of money in energy saving equipment. He changed his machinery. He put better insulation. Hence the cooling requirement reduced. Was it not additionality?
Yes, he has done extra
Absolutely.
effort. Yeah, from the normal business as usual.
Does it have permanence, Dr. Deepa? Does
Yeah,
it?
it has. It has purpose.
Yes.
Absolutely. He has put a change of the technology. That's how he saved 1,000
Yeah.
tons of carbon dioxide. Hence, at least this year is
Oh,
permanent, right? And in future
yeah.
also, we are not expecting that to go back. Hence, the second principle. Third principle, Dr. Richa. What was the third principle? And do you think it is verified here in this case?
Double
Yes,
counting,
from
sir?
10,000,
Double
10,000
Double
counting is the
to
counting.
last one. Double counting is the last one, which is avoiding double counting. The third one is
just verification.
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 Now,
Yeah.
can this be verified that he has saved 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide? Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Base you have last year data 10,000. This year, because of the energy saving, he has 1,000, and he has to take the verification from third party as well in order to get traded in European Union ETS system. However, if you follow CSRD, you won't need to get third party individually every year. If you do it, it's very good. It's required as well. But if you don't, still you can establish that fact. Now, these three, last one, double counting, Dr. Vaidyanath. Now, if you see double counting, can this guy again count this 1,000 somewhere else? Can he do that apart from reporting under baseline and this year improvement?
You can't do.
He can't do. And hence, all four principles are met. Hence, he got this excess allowance to sell in the market at the market price, whatever market price decides. Now, market price gets decided by the financial incentive. People want to only sell and buy if it is at equilibrium based on the demand and supply, right? So if somebody has emitted 10,000 extra or 1,000 tons of carbon dioxide extra, means 11,000, then only this guy can sell, right? At a some natural price which is right for them. And how that price gets decided? By the market. Obviously there are several research has happened, and they say that 80 euros is the ideal price for world to trade at, but in India it gets traded at 1.5 to $15. In US it gets traded at 100. There is a document called carbon pricing in 2025. People should see, and they will realize that how much disparity are there, right? So in this, what is the benefit of cap and trade system? Three. First, overall emission reduction happen. As you know, one of the characteristics, first industry will set at 10,000, later on they will reduce to 9, then they will reduce to 8, then they will reduce to 0. That is why overall reduction is a possibility. Second, it encourages innovation. So company which are smart, right, putting a lot of effort, will get better benefit. They can go and sell in the market. One of the good example is Tesla, which makes money by doing such exercise. Last but not least, flexibility of compliance. Now this allows company to trade allowances at cost effective and emission reduction methods. Hence that helps everyone. Now certification and compliances requires following key items which we have already covered, right? First is the verification itself. Verification, validation of the project generating carbon credit and emission outcomes are essential. In next slide, we will see that which are those body which does this verification. Mostly it is Vera, Gold Standard and REDD plus, right? Few more are there. So those are the people who can verify whether you have reduced from last year to this year. Second is you have to register or issue these carbon credits. So issuing or listing of carbon credits on approved registry is important. And where Gold Standard, they are also registry. So they do not only verify, but also they will allow you to register on their platform. Hence, you have created a carbon credit. Third is the functionality, which is trading and reselling, exchange of verified carbon credits between buyer and seller, make it possible that you can buy and sell on regular basis, okay, based on you are getting it lower, you are selling it, so people tend to make from trading also some money. It's not only that I created a carbon credit, sell it on the market and get used to it, right? Then use of claim is very important here. The most important part is that how you are going to use this claim. So guidance and standardization of that uses of carbon credit and claims are very important. Second is target setting and standard. So guidance on standardization of uses for corporate climate target is also important, and that encourages in turn such kind of carbon market. And last but not least, accounting, right? Reporting of emission and use of carbon credits supporting transparency is a critical aspect. Now, this slide is taken from different sources, but here you can see on the left hand side, Vera, even EU ETS system, RED, Global Compact, Gold Standard, Climate Action, incentive. Now, all these are supply side certification standards. So when certification getting registered, basically these particular institution provides it. It develops the integrity standard of quality carbon credit, and eventually it helps carbon market to may provide registry in qualified credits. Which are the institutions? Vera, Climatic Action Reserve, American Carbon Registry, Gold Standard, European Union ETS system, United Nations RED Plus system, etc. Now, processes, these organizations set their own standard of carbon credit programs, which everybody has to meet to register themselves. Clear? Which ensures the quality and integrity. Now, integrity standards, supply side integrity standards involves CCQI, ICTFCI, ICROA. All these are, what are these people? Who produces a separate independent report that whatever is claimed by a particular company into Vera is right or wrong. So these standards are used to evaluate the carbon credit generated by various programs. Then comes the market regulators, which is, international standards are there, ISDA, IOSCO, which is deals into commodity market or option and trading market. And they ensure that when these credit comes into the market, they are operated with authenticity, transparency, yeah, and people are meeting their obligations. While the demand side, if you see, that comes from the standard itself. So science by based target, ISO 14064, VCMI, all these body helps people on the compliance market or the demand side market, right? These organizers provide a guidance to validate the corporate net zero guidance, and ensuring that those claims are used in right direction for climate, mitigation it is used for. So that is a very important part. Here, disclosure platform like CDP, people generally use, as well as ASA. And you can see greenhouse gas protocol also remains a central body on the demand side. Clear? So these are the process how carbon market certification and commercialization work. One more thing here is also you should remember is Kyoto Protocol. And I have talked about it because CDM was one of those particular aspect of the Kyoto Protocol which failed miserably. And these are those reasons why it fails. Why I'm highlighting it here. So even though we have very prudent system, but over a period of time, if not everybody cooperates, it fails. And hence I have brought this into consideration today, right? You can take a photograph. There are only four reasons why it failed, right? Limited participation. So the developed nation started taking their hand back. If insufficient emission reduction was happening, and you remember we talked about one scandal. How many of you remember that scandal which was happening in 2005 by
I think in Russia.
Russian, Soviet Union, old Soviet Union factor countries? They were doing this hot air scandal. So they were not reducing anything, but they were claiming that they have a lot of allowances to sell. So that was the a second reason. Third reason, economic concern. The CDM markets were not, as prudent as today's markets are. We didn't had so many body to do so much of verification and integrity checks, etc. So that was another, and it was not making sense. Means you can imagine $10, $5. Why I should even create something, right? To create only I have to pay to so much or to my consultant, $10 per tons. So that was another problem. And then the lack of enforcement. These were the four major reasons why Kyoto Protocol failed. And that's what is the learning which we have to consider. So what is working? Working is Paris Agreement, article number 6.2. Now, as you know, Paris Agreement was adopted in 2015, and it is a global action plan to limit the global warming to well below 2 degrees centigrade, preferably at 1.5 degrees centigrade, right? So compared to the pre-industrial level, that is what is required from the market. Now, to achieve this legally binding international treaty where more than 196 countries are now party to it. Earlier it was 189. When it was first signed, it was only 189. But later on, 196 countries have signed it. And it was, of course, brought in by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNCCC, which was ratified. Now, Paris Agreement, a few facts you should be knowing, that it contains 29 articles, right, which outlines the framework and operational guideline. And additionally, it includes 16 introductory paragraphs. So 29 article and 16 introductory paragraph it includes. And it has seven appendices, right, covering 139 article. And article number 6 is most critical one, right? Because the key component of Paris Agreement is Article 6, which didn't get ratified till COP39, right? Which introduces the provision for voluntary cooperation in implementing nationally determined contribution. So nationally determined contribution decides about carbon market as well, because it talks about greenhouse gas emission reduction targets, etc. Hence, they also enable it. If somebody is doing aggressively, they should be incentivized by allowing them to sell into the market. Now, Article 6 is divided into three critical segments, which you should be knowing. One is 6.2, second is 6.4, and third is 6.8. Each one of them addresses different aspect of this cooperation, and they got ratified only in COP29 Baku last year, 2024, right? Where it was allowed that now international ITMOs, right, a tradable instrument, which is internationally transferred mitigation outcomes, will be allowed. This is nothing but they are creating a registry with United Nations, which will ask for where from you are getting this carbon credit, and it will also do the due diligence on you, and then it will also allow people to buy on their platform, which will be United Nations platform.
That will be Article 6.4 now you're talking
6.4,
about.
absolutely.
Article
Right.
6.4, yes.
While the 6.2 talks about NDC, always remember that, right? 6.2 establishes the mechanism for countries to voluntarily cooperate, right, in implementing their nationally determined contributions. So some countries lacking, some countries doing better, they can do the transaction through ITMOs. Clear? And that's how the 6.4 come into play. Which is a mechanism contributes to mitigation of greenhouse gas emission. Article 6.4 establishes a completely fresh mechanism compared to CDM, where in COP, which serves the meeting of parties, that they should be allowed to reduce their carbon emission by whoever is doing extra can register and sell it later, right? So this is how 6.2 works. Now, what we will do, we will quickly test ourselves. Let's test ourselves, and then we will go to last discussion, a bonus discussion. We will do it for next 15 minutes. But let's solve these questions. Question number 1. Tell me the answer in chat box, or you can even shout out. Ajay and Shraddha is really upset, huh? That you guys didn't tell her. Sandeep, you didn't write? We are live. Ajay is not able to.
B is the answer, sir. D for boy.
Okay. Let's hear from others as well. Look, what it is saying, that a nation which is looking into their national emission cap, right, to implement cap and trade system is NDC, right? They have determined themselves that this is the carbon emission they will maintain to. Now, government decide to reduce the total number of available emission allowances by 20% over 5 year. Means every year 5% they are reducing, right? 4% they are reducing. If over the 5 year they are doing 20%. So which of the following is most likely the economic effect of the policy change on carbon market? So when you reduce the allowances or the cap is going down, what is the benefit of it? That's what he's trying to understand. So first option is price of carbon allowances will increase. Possible, right? Because the supply is reducing of the carbon allowance. Earlier it was 100 ton. Now after 5 years it will be only 80 tons which will be allowed to sell in the market. So even though you take a lot of activity, it will have that problem. Correct? But this will have no effect on corporate emission because company will not be able to afford the abatement technology.
I got A actually.
But you see the last statement there. Okay, let's see the B. Price of carbon allowances will remain stable and incentivizing company to invest in more in abatement technology. Why you think Abdul Amjad ji, that is correct. B. What was your
सर वो कैप कैप एमिशन ये कैप एंड ट्रेड सिस्टम बोल रहे हैं ना
कैप एंड ट्रेस
जैसे
सिस्टम
आप
बोल रहा है, लेकिन इसमें क्या बोल रहा है
जैसे
वो थोड़ा ध्यान कीजिएगा कि वो कैप को
जी जी
रिड्यूस करते जा रहा है 20% से। सो मान लो पहले अलाउ था कि आप 100 तक इमिट करो। अब अब्दुल अमजदी की सीमेंट कंपनी ने बोला ठीक है हम लोग 90 करेंगे। बट जैसे इन लोगों ने वो टेक्नोलॉजी डाली तब तक वो 80 हो गया रिड्यूस होके। फ्रॉम 100 इट बिकेम इन 5 year 80, राइट? सो नाउ
जी
विल यू बी एबल टू जस्टिफाई योर 10 एक्स्ट्रा?
सर वो तो जो आपने 5 प्रिंसिपल बताया उसका तो लॉजिक ही यही है कि ये अलाउंस टेम्पोरी है परमानेंट नहीं है वो आगे
नहीं,
घटता जाएगा घटता जाएगा
करेक्ट। तो नाउ घट रहा
फिर
है तो प्राइसेस विल गो हाई और लेस। अगर सप्लाई घटा दूं मैं, चीनी अवेलेबल नहीं है मार्केट में, चाय पीने वाले तो कम नहीं होंगे।
Prices will increase.
Obviously prices will increase, Abdul Amjad ji. You have to think like that. Look, till the time you are getting
यस यस
that, if
करेक्ट
the
करेक्ट
supply reduces, will people reduce their eating? Of course not. They will buy it. They will pay little extra. Third option, let's see it. Price of carbon allowance will remain stable. Again, remain stable वाला तो चांस ही नहीं है. It will change. हाँ, पहले $80 था पर यूनिट का, अब हो सकता है 82 हो जाए और स्टेबलाइज हो जाए नेक्स्ट 5 year. That is a possibility because market doesn't work exactly how the supply goes down, right? So it might adjust for all 5 year, increase the price by $2, and that's it. As the company will simply buy offset from voluntary market. Of course they have to buy, but available is there, the availability will reduce now. Even the company which has taken action will be ineffective to sell in the market because वो तो और नीचे आ गया है तो he cannot sell. So C is also not correct. D1, price of carbon allowances will decrease. वो तो impossible है, प्राइस तो नीचे हो ही नहीं सकता ना, प्राइस तो ऊपर ही जाएगा। वैद्यनाथन जी, योर क्वेश्चन प्लीज।
My question is, what is the possibility of why not A?
No, A is the correct answer. I was just seeing the others answer as well. A was the
Is
correct answer.
no, B is the correct answer, right?
No, no, A is the correct answer. B is not a correct
A,
answer.
A. A is a
B, price
Okay.
of carbon allowances will increase. That is true. Incentivizing the companies to invest more. No, no, actually, sorry. A, B is the correct answer. Sorry. My bad.
but
Why
My
not,
okay.
why not
Sir,
A?
can you explain then A?
Now, price of carbon
I got
allowances will increase. Price of carbon allowances will
yeah,
increase.
definitely.
Both are same. But this will have no effect, it says, right? It says that it will have no effect. Of course, it will have effect. If the price goes up, my purchasing price will go up only, right? If the price of carbon market, I'm anyway a dirty business, I'm into dirty business and I'm not taking any action. Will I again need to buy from the same market? Sorry, I got confused myself. It was B, and Abdul Amjad ji
सर
was.
मेरा तो सिंपल लॉजिक था
हाँ,
कि जैसे हमने अबेटमेंट टेक्नोलॉजी लगा के हमने फर्दर रिडक्शन किया तो हम अपना अलाउंस को बेच रहे हैं
अलाउंस को बेस
तो मार्केट में मेरे जैसा कोई और ज्यादा लोग नहीं है, तो मैं कोशिश करूंगा और ज्यादा उसका मतलब अलाउंस
मतलब
का
आप
रेंज
ज्यादा
बढ़ाऊं और
अबेटमेंट
ज्यादा
करने
से
की
ज्यादा
कोशिश
बेचूं, क्योंकि
करोगे।
उसका रेट बढ़े।
आप
यस यस
ज्यादा
यस।
अबेटमेंट करने की कोशिश करोगे, हेंस
कोशिश करूंगा।
इन्वेस्ट मोर, एब्सोल्युटली।
यस यस, मेरा लॉजिक यही था
वो
कि
करेक्ट है
मतलब
लॉजिक। पहले वाले
वो
में इट सेइंग
इंसेंटिव।
दैट इट हैव नो इफेक्ट ऑन द मार्केट, दैट्स द
यस
प्रॉब्लम।
यस।
वैद्यनाथन जी,
Okay.
prices will definitely go up, so A and B is correct up to there. But will it have effect on the market? Absolutely. People who are conscious, they want to not
Okay.
buy.
I got it.
Yeah, Dr. Deepa got it. Badhanathan, I was.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Yeah.
Next question. थोड़ा higher order thinking है, so company operating in a compliance carbon market with a cap and trade system successfully reduces its emission below its allocated allowances. Now, what is the most significant strategic advantage for this company? So, Abdul
आई
Amjad,
थिंक
yeah,
डी
D.
डी विल बी द
D.
डी।
D. Yeah.
company
D.
gets
He is doing
control.
carbon offset also, and
Yeah.
surplus allowance he can
For the
sell in the
voluntary.
market.
Okay, next question. यहाँ पे think about but for, right? ये जो word है
Yes, sir.
वहां पे आपको ध्यान देना होगा. एडिशनलिटी अभी हमने पढ़ा, राइट?
Yes, sir.
फर्स्ट वाला ऑब्वियसली परमानेंस की बात कर रहा है कि 100 ईयर्स तक रहना
जी
चाहिए वो, तो
जी
परमानेंट.
जी।
सेकंड वाला
Second is verification.
वेरिफिकेशन, सो अलग प्रिंसिपल की
Yeah.
बात कर रहा है. थर्ड वाला
Must be.
इट हैज नो रिलेवेंस.
Um,
नॉन इन्वेसिव स्पीसीज
D. D
नेटिव टू
again.
डी हो जाएगा
D
सर,
again.
इज द
बिल्कुल डी।
करेक्ट आंसर. ओके, नेक्स्ट. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. An airline company which is not subject to cap and trade system publicly commits to becoming carbon neutral by purchasing carbon offset. So they are telling that they want to become carbon neutral and they are purchasing it. This action is characterized or characteristics of which type of carbon market?
B.
Very good.
वॉलंटरी इट विल बी।
Voluntary, absolutely voluntary market. Next one. A carbon offset project is criticized for double counting. The most likely mean is what? What is the double counting mean? That same item is counted more than once, isn't it?
हाँ यस सर।
A, sir. A. Yeah.
Everyone, A,
Yeah.
B, C, D.
A.
यस ए इट विल मे बी स्कोप 1, स्कोप 2 और स्कोप 3 में कहीं भी डबल काउंट।
Perfect. Let's now see what are those incentives which are available for us to do a proper carbon accounting. So this is the last part, module 8. It's a bonus module, not committed, but we are telling you guys. Okay.
सर वो कार्बन का जो मॉड्यूल था उसमें इतना ही जानना काफी है।
हमारे लिए इतना ही जानना काफी है.
ओके।
उसके बाद क्या है
यस
कि हाउ टू डेवलप इट. सो
यस।
दैट इटसेल्फ इज अ बिग, वो 5 दिन का सेशन होगा. हाउ टू डेवलप द
बस
कार्बन मार्केट, मतलब रजिस्ट्री कैसे कराते हैं, रजिस्ट्री के रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या हैं, वो पढ़ सकते हैं उसमें.
वो भी
लेकिन
करते कराते कैसे वो ट्रेनिंग, वो भी
अभी
कोर्स है क्या?
पॉसिबल नहीं है, इतना सारा कुछ अगर क्रैम करने लगूंगा मैं
नहीं,
तो.
मैं थोड़ा सस्टेनेबल फाइनेंस का थोड़ा जानना चाह रहा था, इस वजह से पूछ।
उसमें आएगा, उसमें आएगा.
ओके।
रजिस्ट्री की बात उसी में आती है. नाउ दिस बोनस मॉड्यूल में व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू कवर इज दैट व्हाट आर द क्रिटिकल थीम फॉर क्लाइमेट एक्शन टुडे. Climate action and disclosure में which are the themes which we can consider here, right? Specifically the voluntary initiatives which we'll be talking, key reporting frameworks, product carbon footprint frameworks, guiding organization toward greater transparency and accountability today, right? So we will be delving into those particular aspects. Now, we have already covered GHG accounting and reporting process, if you remember. So we, in module 1 and 2, we measured emissions and established the baseline, if you remember. Accounting has been done. We also did analysis, which was module 3, where we identify the critical area like a scope 3 emissions and how to intervene. Module 4, we covered developing and implementing strategy to reduce the emission, which was last few modules, right? And last module, which is module A7, we looked into reports, action, and result transparency to stakeholder. And fifth step is iterative step. And these are the 5 steps in GHG accounting and reporting process. So GHG accounting and reporting process involves accounting, analysis, action, disclosure, and then keep doing it till the time you achieve the mastery in this. Which are these climate action which you will be adopting going forward? So we learn that, right? Mitigation and adoption is the 2 ways anybody can look into climate action. So once you do the measurement, the action we have taken is mitigation and adoption. So reducing GHG emission to limit the global warming is mitigation, and adoption is preparing your own self and managing the impact of climate change. Clear? Now, if that is clear, climate action remains the center to achieve a long-term sustainability. Always remember that. So long-term sustainability के लिए आपको सेंटर पीस जो है वो क्लाइमेट एक्शन है, right? So protecting ecosystem, community from adverse effect of climate change is one of the principle there. Ensuring business continuity is second principle there, and strengthening stakeholders, trust, and meeting the regulatory requirement is 3 principle through which you take climate action. So any action you take, be it adhering to SDG, adhering to Paris Agreement, net zero targets, SBTI, your actual purpose is these 3, right? To protect the ecosystem or ensure the business continuity so आपकी business ना बंद हो, and strengthen the stakeholder. How you can do it? SDG goal alignment. Now, as you know, climate action is SDG number 13. Goal 13 is that you have to integrate climate action with other goals like affordable clean energy and sustainable cities. वो दोनों भी लेके अगर डाला आपने तो आपके क्लाइमेट एक्शन का एसडीजी पूरा पूरा होता है. Now, Paris Agreement always talk about that we have to limit our global temperature or carbon emission in a way that global temperature doesn't rise beyond 2 degrees centigrade, well below actually 2 degrees centigrade, and remains around or below 1.5 degrees centigrade. So that is your Paris Agreement. And then the net zero target or carbon net zero, people say, is a target which was established by Paris Agreement of 2050. So the increasing global commitments achieving net zero emission by 2050 or earlier is one of those target people take. Here, very good example of IKEA, our team members has covered. So if you want to watch that how you can apply all these in practice, go and watch those video. I think it has been uploaded, not shared. So it will be shared along with today's session as well. So don't worry, it will be shared, right? The study, whatever you guys have presented, it will be shared. So renewable energy integration, IKEA has done, as you know, they have done the sustainable sourcing and circular economy principle. By these 3 ways, they implemented all climate action criteria, which is required. That was one of the beautiful example. Other examples of development in climate policy on national or global levels are, one is COP29, COP28, where the key developments, what we will do is we will share with you 2, 3 videos as well as some material where we have done the summary for COP28, 29, right? We will send you that. So read that, you will get the idea that what are the major changes has happened there, right? Of course, Paris Agreement remain the central piece. because that is one of the one of those moments where history has been created in climate action. Then comes the Global Methane Pledge, which is part of your Scotland, I'm saying Stockholm's COP has given the global methane pledge. And then loss and damage fund has been agreed in COP28. Now, carbon price mechanism is another development where we have already shared with you European Union carbon border adjustment mechanism. We have shared some article on EU ETS system. We have shared also Indian system called CCTS system, right? So those are carbon pricing mechanism, which is also enabling climate action in motion. And these are the global policy. What are the national policy? National policy, of course, limited to the nation or the continent. For example, European Union Green Deal. जैसे आपने पूछा ना सस्टेनेबल फाइनेंस का, वो ग्रीन डील से आता है. सी जो भी यूरोपियन एक्शन है, CSRD है, CBAM है,
Okay.
everything now it is converting to green deal, and eventually green deal has produced the omnibus. There is a omnibus European Union reports are coming in where CS triple D, CSRD all are merged. However, that is people are calling that is a dilution of the actual initiative. Now, India National Action Plan on Climate Change, NAPCC, the outcome we see is the CCTS, right? The initiative is Indian National Action Plan, and which covers even Swachhata Abhiyan, Namami Gange, all these are part of the National Action Plan. And even you want to see in US, their national policy is United States Climate Action, from where they are withdrawing now. So you never know which form it will be left with. The voluntary initiative, so national and global policy we saw. Now, voluntary initiative for climate action, which will enable you to get certified as well, is SBTI, which is Science Based Target Initiative, right? Which provides the validated framework for all your action which you take toward your net zero, plans. Nowadays, is more than 7,000 companies which are part of SBTI, covering diverse industry. So it's an industry agnostic, and framework include that you can target 1 and 2 mandatory, and even 3. It recommends that you should also target emission 3, and that's why a lot of people do not adhere with SBTI. They take it initially and then they drop the idea. So it is little tough. But RE100, which is renewable energy reliance 100%, lot of people have taken Google, Apple, IKEA, all this, data center kind of people. They are definitely looking into it because it encourages the business to directly procure renewable energy or through PPA, power purchase agreements. Other voluntary initiative include green supply chain. So Walmart, Unilever, they are embedding sustainability into their supply chain procurement policies. They are also going for eco label and carbon labeling as well. Circular economic principle, as we have seen in IKEA, H&M, they integrate that reuse, recycle, and modular design. Carbon neutral products are also available now. Microsoft, Dell, Apple has Apple Watch, which is carbon neutral. So they are verifying those carbon neutral footprints and bringing into the play as well. Clear? But there are challenges in this area which we can't ignore. What is those challenges? Scope 3 complexity. We saw that it is not that easy. Uh, but if you diligently put enough effort, 70 to 90% of company total carbon emission, which comes from the scope 3, you will be able to justify your effort. Companies like PepsiCo, Nestle, they are stuck with, digital. They have done very well. And I have also told you that Coke has these bottles now, 10 rupees, 20 rupees plastic bottle, where they claim that it is completely, uh, you know, recycled bottles, and they are food grade bottles. So you can use them. It's not bad. Second problem is the dynamic regulation. So as you know, a lot of governments are taking back some regulation, bringing new regulations like EU CBAM, like CDR in US being withdrawn. So all those are challenges. So how to adhere, what to adhere, what not to adhere. This year something you are doing, next year you should not be doing. So that is one problem. Global disparity is another problem. Part of the policy shift. There is no common framework. Like accounting system, you have a common framework, right? IFRS, US GAAP, Indian AS, and all of them try to adhere to certain factors. In sustainability is right now we are expecting IFRS to bring that sanity to the insanity insane world. Hopefully that happens, but that's future. We never know. Stakeholder expectation is another challenge. So sometime customer wants something, next time he doesn't want. Your customer preferences always changes. Social license to operate is another problem. So community always change their mood. Sometimes they are happy with one politician, next time they are not, right? So all that, and along with investor, they are also not able to make up their mind. Like US ones have removed DEI as a major issue, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion is gone out of US based companies, investor point of view. Even some company had changed that department name. Means most of them they have changed it to cultural department. So from DEI. So with that, we have come to end of the session. Okay, we have covered end to end carbon accounting, measurement, action, markets. Of course, I would have gone another 10 days to do markets, another 10 days to talk about SBTI, but that requires additional focus. And right now, our focus is that you should apply whatever you have learned in a corporate scenario. Hence, we are starting from Tuesday, uh, you know, projects. So you will be working on projects live, right? So every alternate day, our team member will come, deliver you the package based on which project you are in. And mostly there will be 6 project, 3 project we will be starting with, and everybody will take one project. Means every 2 or 3 people will together. I think we will maintain the group will remain the same. So whatever group is there, so that group will be there, and each of you will get a company. You have to do its research, its peers, you have to find it out, and then you have to structure wise you have to apply, because our team member will require, they will be acting like your supervisor. So they require delivery, and you have to deliver in accordance to what client has asked us from. So it will be live happening, and data will be more or less accurate. I mean, it's not accurate, real data. So it's not accurate, it's a real data, which will have a lot of issues, and you have to find out those and address those, because sometimes client doesn't want you to come back and tell them that you don't have anything. Rather, they want you to tell them the solution, how to find that, right? So those nuances we will be discussing on Tuesday when we will kick off the projects, right? So everybody will be allocated one project, and next 2 week we will be working on those projects. Anybody has any question? Vaidyanathanji is putting his hand on his head. He's troubled now. What projects? I have a lot of work to do. Dr. Deepa will say I have to go to college. Sorry, he's a practitioner, not Dr. Deepa. I think Dr. Richa. I have to go to
No,
college.
no, I'm going to college only.
Actually, you
I'm teaching. I'm in teaching position.
Actually, you are in teaching, I think. Then I always
Yeah, I'm in teaching.
confuse with Dr. Richa. Okay. So that's the point, but it will be fun. Don't worry. Everybody will be working in team, and that team will enable each other. So 1 hour, 2 hour brainstorming, if you do, you will be on target, right? So weekly, anyway, weekly we will be meeting. The main meeting will happen weekly, but packets will be delivered every alternate day. So 6 modules will be there. Clear? So that will start from Tuesday. Tomorrow is big debate coming up. So how many of you are ready?